Hi everybody, welcome to Paper Wishes weekly webisodes. I'm Lene Gehrig, and today from our friends at Ciao, this really great collection. It's called Typographic, okay? And it's very Victorian, and we've got a creative pad and also an 8x8 paper pad, and they make beautiful cards. This is our giveaway card for this episode, so if you stick around to the end of the video, you'll learn how one lucky viewer can win this card to keep or share with a friend. So come play with us. All right, let's take a look at this one. It says this paper pad offers 23 different designs with one additional design on the cover with these three, what they call cards, the three images right here. And on the back side, we've got this one. I love the cut-aparts. I love the ABCs of practice writing in that Victorian script. That's a really great image right here. All right, and we've got the typewriter, which would have been a new invention. And I love all of it's not quite steampunk here. It's very traditional Victorian. We've got images of butterflies, typewriter keys. I love this house sign painting. And then on the other side, something that looks a lot like a wallpaper, you know, like a Victorian print. Really cool. Here's a botanical image. And then on the other side, this one's got green vines, little oranges or tangerines, and then a little bird in the background. Here's a larger version of that in the creative pack, and you'll be able to see it better. Okay, and then this one, we've got typesetting for a printing press. And then here's the side of the printing press, of course, embellished with flowers and kind of swirly kind of things, as you do with a printing press. Keys, stamps, stripes. And then I hear it, flourish was the term I was trying to use. Flourish, flourish. Working on the printing press, the typewriter. And then we've got the ampersand, and then all kinds of clocks and labels and butterflies. Another really cool stripe. This one's like a lavender stripe. Okay, mini tags, more typewriter keys. I love the little flourish here, and this image here. And then we've got our little practice writing again. And I love the pen and ink. Okay, and then these are 4 little cutout squares, and then on the reverse side, sort of blank, where you could use those for journaling. Okay, another image with these little images of this woman that is sort of consistent throughout, and then sort of some Grecian, like a bust right there, and then butterflies, flowers, and then printing press images. I love this collage page. It's got everything from stamps to typewriter, magnifying glass, butterfly, lots of papers. And then the other side, this is sort of a beige diamond print. Lots here on pen and ink. And then a brown and tan stripe. And then another sheet of cutouts. And this is a brown and tan diamond print. And another green stripe with a tan sort of line running through that. And then here we've got more pen and ink, newspaper print here. Lots going on with this collage page. Okay, now let's take a look at what's in the creative pack. The creative pack has mostly the same papers, a lot of the same images, just larger, but there's new things in here too. So once again, the front cover for the cut apart. Let's see, double-sided paper. This pad has 17 design pages of ephemera and elements, plus 1 additional on the cover with 4, once again, cards. So they're calling these cut aparts like cards. Okay, so great image here. I love the little pen nibs. Those are great. Measuring tape. You've got a combination of the background of script writing, text, like sort of typed text, and then music right here. And then these are 3 cut aparts. I love all of these cutouts. Great for sticking in pockets or just card toppers. Okay, this is the same image that we had in this 8x8, much larger. more cutouts, fantastic tags, and then the brown and tan stripe. Okay, more. These are great card toppers. And then this one, again, with the green and then a little bit of a tan stripe right there. More cutouts. Tan and brown stripe with little tulips running down the center. Lots of clock faces, which is really nice. And then this one's the lavender with a little floral print. Lots of great images on this one. Here's that Grecian, sort of that bust. And then on the other side, get our stripe. And then more cutout images, fantastic. And then here's that image I was showing you before. Can we zoom in on this? Where it's got the green vines, the oranges, and then, oh, a nest, and then a bird. It's almost like a partridge in a pear tree, but not quite. Okay. And then another stripe. This one's blue with sort of an ivory background. And then lots more cutouts. Okay. So I'm going to show you some cards here, and I'm going to point out, I'm going to let you know if I use them from one pack or the other pack or both together. That way you can decide which ones you like. We have a great money saver on both of these, and if you're watching us on our Paper Wishes webisode page at paperwishes.com, the money saver is right there on the right-hand side. If you're watching us on YouTube, just look below the video in the description box, and you'll see a link that will take you to this Paper Wishes webisode page. So this is a 5 by 6.5 card. It is our card giveaway, and stick around to the end because I'm going to tell you all about the giveaway. But right now I'm going to tell you about how I constructed the card. So the first thing is I took that striped paper and inked the edges of that with my favorite brown, which is the cocoa bean, and my blending tool. So I just cut the paper slightly smaller than the card so I could have that white edge. Inked the edges, glued that there. Then I cut a stripe, and looking for my ruler. Here it is. Forever forgetting to bring my ruler out. This stripe is cut to 3 inches wide. Then I inked the edges of that and then matted it with white cardstock, just leaving like a 1/16 border, just a little bit of a white edge to break up the patterns. Glued that down the card center. Then this is a cutout, and I wrote on the back of this, I used, all of these items came from the Creative Pack, okay? This whole card. So this cutout postcard was from the Creative Pack. I inked the edges of that and glued this at an angle, cut out the clock, inked the edges of that and glued that, 12 o'clock straight up, and then inked the edges of this little cutout tag and then foam taped that right there. Now, Debbie and I love our giant wheel of foam tape, 150 feet or 50 yards of 1/2 inch wide, continuous foam tape. It's a great deal at about 20 bucks. And that is just used right under here. And then you'll notice I've got right here and right here, tiny little sparkle piece right there. Those are copper Jewel Dazzle stickers, okay? They come in a sheet like this. And we like just using our little jewel pickers. They're sort of tacky on 2 ends. You place them down, you do a little stirring motion, they lift up, and then you can place them right there on your card or what have you. Makes it much easier to place a lot of them. These are just 2. And then just a little knotted length of brown gingham ribbon, which is from our brown ribbon collection. And at the top here, congrats, comes from our script greeting dazzle stickers in brown, and they are 3 sheets with different sentiments on each. And this is a great one to use with this collection. Okay, so stick around to the end, you guys, and we'll learn about the giveaway. All right, so next I have got, which one should I do next? Okay, we'll do this one. All right, so this one I used, everything I'm going to show you, I used the 8 by 8 only. All right, we're going to do some mixing on other ones. So for this one, I used a 5 by 6.5 inch card. But I also used a portion of another 5 by 6.5 inch card. So let me show you before I open it. Here's this one, okay? And then I took another one and I just trimmed it at half, leaving a ½ inch on one side. So this is what it looked like, okay? So then you're gonna take this one and you can just glue that to the back of this one. So now you've got this little tri-fold card, okay? Opens up. So that's what I did on this one. If you can see here, open it up. And it makes a really nice presentation, super simple to do. And just using different colors of the patterned papers on each panel here as well. But on this one, I'm making a pocket, okay? So I'm gonna start with the cover and I'm gonna walk you through. So I used some of that really cool collage paper on the front, cut it slightly smaller than the card, inked the edges of the paper, inked the edges of the card, once again, cocoa bean, then just a little 1-inch strip of that typographical paper, that paper, what was it called? Oh, that's right, I used the 8x8. And it's a really unusual print. It's like a printing press paper. Oh, come on. Oh, I think it's on the back of this one. Yes, it is. So I used this one to cover my card, and I used a scrap from the back of it right there, okay? And then glued that down the center. And then you'll notice here we've got a little shiny at the top and the bottom. I used the copper jewel border dazzle stickers, okay? They peel off so nicely, works great for adding these to cards. And then went ahead and cut this piece out, inked the edges of that, foam taped that, then added right on the center of that butterfly another one of those little tiny jewel dazzle stickers. And then at the bottom, I went back to my brown script greeting and I added "Just for You" right down here. Okay, when we open this up, we're now on the inside left, used some striped paper here, another one of those dazzles at the top, just a scrap paper that's about an inch and a half wide, and then I just glued it on 3 sides to make a little pocket, and then foam taped one of the cutouts on top of that, added jewel dazzle stickers on each side. This is one of those 4-piece cutouts that I showed you where you got 4 of them together, and here we are, just like this. And I put some leftover border dazzles right here, folded over a little scrap I had that had some of that measuring tape on it, and this fold that over so I have that little pull for my tab, and then put a little jewel dazzle there on the butterfly as well. And then when you turn it over, there's one here, here, and then on this tag again. We're just gonna stick that right there. You can write little notes on the back. Now we're on the flap front of the right side. So used pretty much just like a 2-inch width of this piece. You don't need to cover the whole card. Glued that to the right side. On the left side, we have some of this great collage paper, and I cut a 3-inch strip of this one, inked the edges, and then glued it only on 3 sides to make another pocket. Right on the edge of that pocket, added another one of those jewel border dazzle stickers in the copper. Here's another one of those square cutouts. Embellish this little pull in the same way with a little jewel dazzle here, here at the corners, and then on the back side. Great little place for a message right there. And then open it up here. There's a nice little place here. I just glued this at the top so you could stick a full photo here or more journaling there. And then this one right here is something I wanted to show you. It was a cutout, and I just tore it out. Oh, it's going to make me hunt. Here we are. This one right here, I just cut this out, or tore it out. Just a freehand tearing of that. You can also take a little paintbrush or a water brush and just go around it like this, and it softens the fibers, and that way when you start tearing, it almost makes like a little ditch for you to tear in, and then it makes it much easier to tear, a controlled tear. And on this one, I went ahead and glued it just on the side after inking it so that you could tuck something else in there. and then cut out this little ink bottle, foam taped that overlapping, added the brown script greening dazzles, and glued a cutout of a pen right there. Okay, and we already talked about this side. So yeah, this one, easy to go together, but I think it makes a nice presentation for a birthday. Next, all right, this one, you guys, uses both. This one uses the Creative Pack and the 8x8, sort of just mixing things together. This is a 7x5 inch. It is a tent fold card, so the fold goes at the top, and I just turned it on its side, and then I used a ruler, and I just cut, I drew a line 2 inches from the bottom edge, drew a ruler, and I used some scissors to cut it. Why didn't I just use a paper cutter? Because when you open this up, it's 14 inches tall, so you can't fit that in a paper cutter. So I just cut it by hand. A little tip, I went ahead and I glued this paper on first, okay, straight across, and then when I cut, it gave me a really nice straight edge to follow. And then to cover up any maybe issues I had with cutting a straight edge, right here, I just took a little thin strip of that brown and tan stripe paper and glued it right across the edge. That covers up all kinds of bad cutting. So another jewel border dazzle sticker down below. Another little key tag right here, which I inked and foam taped, added a little jewel dazzle. This one, cut this timepiece out and then glued it only to like halfway right there. Then I took another one because it was just, you know, plain stripes on the back, and just foam taped that right here and glued it. And then there's a jewel dazzle there, and then a little 1/8 inch wide brown ribbon that is included in the brown ribbon set. Just glued that right there. And then when you open this, just a 1-inch strip right here of the paper that I used here. Of course, I'd already covered and inked the back. I used the brown greetings called Brown Big Greetings. Okay, here we go. And just put with love, but there's happy birthday, thank you, hello, love you. And then this piece right here is inked and foam taped at the top. Okay, and I put that down sort of like, once I cut this away and covered the back, this is the first thing I added. So I made sure it was fitting in the correct spot. Okay, last card. This next one's a 5x5, and this one also uses a mix of the two packs. Primarily it uses the 8x8, but I did reach into the paper collection pack or the creative pack and use that one. So here's a little 5x5 card. And I started off by putting the fold on the right instead of the left, and then I cut 2.5 inches away from the left side, okay? Like that. And then used this great little piece with the striped paper and the practice lines, inked the edges and glued that to the center, then used extra paper from this, glued it here and here. And then right along this edge, I added a white fancy border dazzle sticker. What is it called? I should just read it. Fancy border lace in white, okay? And it has all these really pretty lacy stickers on it that are in place of lace, like fabric lace. Great for your paper crafts. And then I added the We're Together Dazzle Sticker Pack. We call it More Colors because the original one came in black. This one is a larger pack. All these colors come together: white, brown, silver, and gold. They come both horizontally and vertically, so depending on what you need for your card. Added love you right there. Also on that collection, just a little heart sticker to fill something there. Then on this piece right here, you guys, I just took another 5x5 card. You could just use white cardstock. And I cut this to 4.5 inches going this way. And then it's 4 inches going this way. And then I just took my scoreboard right here and I scored it at 1/2 inch right there. inked the edges, glued one of those square cutouts I happen to have right here. Okay, and then added the high there, some more of those copper jewel stickers there, and then on the other side, another one of the squares, and then one of the cutouts. These are just tiny little flowers that come from these stickers. And now we're going to take this and we're going to glue this to this flap. Now the glue I'm using for all of these is Cosmic Shimmer Specialist Acrylic Glue. We also carry Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. They're both acrylic, they both dry clear, they're both flexible. Great glue, and they're both listed down below the video. And then Debbie and I like putting them in these little bottles because they give you such a nice fine line of glue, and we don't use as much glue that way. Because you really do not, I'd say the biggest problem when people use glue is they use too much of it. And then it's just kind of, things move around and seep out the sides. Okay, so you'll notice I closed my card as I was adjusting this because I want this to be, that's the great thing about glue, you can move it around a tiny bit. I want the same distance here as I want here, and then that is now attached. And then on this side, I want to make a closure. So I took one of these little mini tags and I glued one of the little cutouts that has an inkwell on it. I put a little dazzle sticker right there. A little foam tape, but you'll notice it's only on the end of the tag, this side. And then I'm going to take this, close the card, overlap the end that does not have foam tape on it. Okay, and that's a nice little closure, and it's going to open up. Whoa, come on, Lene, move it over a little bit. I was going to say, and it's going to open up so easily. There we go. Let's move it over. Now it's going to open up so easily, and then when you want to close it again, you just lift this up. There we go. Okay, so you guys, there's your card ideas. I love this collection. I had so much fun playing with all of these Victorian images, and because you're working with basically a monochromatic color scheme, everything works together. Everything blends and goes well, and it made putting the cards together very fast. So here's this one. So I'm going to tell you about our money saver, which is right there on the right hand side if you're watching us on our Paper Wishes webisode page. If you're watching us on YouTube, just look below the video in the description box and you'll see a link that will take you to this Paper Wishes webisode page where you can take a look at that. If you look down below the video, you're going to see full color photos of all the cards. If you click on them, you'll get a detailed supply list for each one, like which dazzle sticker I used where and which ink pad. If you want just a general supply list, they're listed down below the videos, down below the photos rather. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, our giveaway. So how we run our giveaway for this card this week is we ask that you hop on over to our YouTube channel, which is called My Paper Wishes, subscribe to our channel, give this video a thumbs up, and then leave us a comment. And then after about a week, we'll reply, congratulations, you're the winner, to one viewer's comment. All right, you do have to know your YouTube username because we'll say, congratulations, blank. We'll fill in your username. If you don't remember your username, just go back and read your comment because it is labeled with that. Good idea to hit the notification bell on YouTube, the top right-hand corner, so you know when we're making a card announcement, which we do every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday videos. Okay, you have to participate in each separately. And when we drop new videos, which we do 5-6 times a week. Thanks for joining me today, you guys. This is a fun one to work with. I hope you grab it and put it in your cart, and I'll see you in the next one.